squat day and I really wanted to get some volume in. The previous time that I did back squats, I was doing 60 kilos and pushing them to high sets, 15 repetitions. I did not feel any annoyance back then in inside my shoulder in the rotator cuff, and so I thought that I might be pushing some heavier weight. This is 60 kilos again. This is the last, let's call it warm-up set. Sub-maximal set is probably the more correct way to do it. I got rid of the running shoes and I was using these flat shoes again. I felt like my technique I was able to reclaim after a period where I did not really know how to move in a squat any longer, and that was probably also made worse by the fact that my shoulder was injured and still is, but at least I have seen the light again. And I was doing the usual work for the hip flexor with 2.5 kilos. This is a set that where I did 13 reps, and the second one I did 12. Gonna push it up to 15 and maybe increase it. I don't know how the jump between 2.5 and 5 is gonna be very big, so maybe I'll find a small dumbbell for 3 kilos. That could actually be easier to hold in between the feet. Anyways, this is one of the two working sets that I've done with the back squat, and I put the weight up to 70 kilos. This weight was starting to give me some discomfort in my shoulder, and this is the reason why I had to regress the weight all the way down when I started experiencing this issue, because the weight actually puts enough pressure on my arm that induces enough external forces that the rotator cuff muscle that is injured, I believe is the subscapularis, so the internal rotator, gets pulled to an extent that it is not really happy with, and so it gives me this sensation of pain. It wasn't unbearable. It wasn't lingering afterwards. Anyways, I did some work to try and help with that, but still it was noticeable. I did feel it. I was doing sets of 10 repetitions. They were both kind of hard. Yeah, I would say that I had 2 reps in reserve on the first one, and maybe 1 on the second one. The main idea was to try and keep focus on the movement itself, while still being careful with the shoulder. So I believe that these were all clean repetitions that I took all the way down, as much as my mobility allows. And I'm pretty happy with the form. I'm looking at it now. There was maybe 1 repetition where I let the bar maybe drag me forward more than I would have liked, but the rest of them were actually pretty clean. I like these. I like what I see. So 70 kilos, I was able to push for 10 repetitions, but it still gave me a bit of discomfort in the shoulder. I will have to test this again the next time to see how things go. What I was thinking is to have a higher volume day for the squat with the back squat, where I am slowly pushing heavier weights on higher repetitions. The reason being because I cannot go very heavy without it becoming painful in the shoulder. So I'm gonna do heavy repetitions on the back squats and lower repetitions with pause on the front squat. So I'm working volume on back squat days and technique on front squat days. So this is gonna be happening for the foreseeable future. And when I was done with the squats, I moved over to the upper body, and I was doing again these behind the neck presses. Took 10 kilos again, and unfortunately, unlike the last time, I wasn't really able to do as many repetitions. I don't know if it's because my shoulder was a bit fatigued from the squatting, and the fact that I was also doing push-ups in this giant set, this circuit with behind the neck presses, pull-ups and push-ups, but nevertheless I was only able to do 10 repetitions in the first set, 8 in the second one, and only 5 in the third one. The reason for that is probably because my shoulder was getting fatigued, and I was able to notice 2 distinct times in the upward movement with the behind the neck press where I am feeling the most discomfort. The first is before my my shoulder reaches 90 degrees, so before my humerus is parallel to the floor. And then there is another moment after I pass these 90 degrees and it's halfway up, where I feel there is a tug, a pull in the inside my shoulder, and I need to be extremely careful there. Really control the movement, really feel like the muscle working is the delt and not the other, the rotator cuff, trying to prevent me from doing this movement. But the circuit itself was really good. I was able to pump a ton of blood in that area because I was supersetting behind the neck presses onto the chin-ups and then onto the push-ups. So overall, I'm satisfied with the work. I'm not feeling anything afterwards. So I'll just have to keep going. Ciao.